Perfect. Hey, welcome to Coffee Connect, everybody. I'm Roddy. I'm the host here. We're going to have a great conversation today. It is all about connecting knowledge, people, and resources one cup at a time. We hope that today, beyond learning some things maybe about the organization, maybe learning some things about yourself, right, that you will also create some relationships that will help build your level, right? Whether that's you're in job transition or you're in a business or you're an entrepreneur here today, right? That you can find those relationships that can help build you to that next level, guys. And so, um, most people today, most professionals often feel isolated, they feel overwhelmed, maybe even unsure, right, where they can find the support and stuff. I've been to two of them now this morning because I went to HR Roundtable, which is a phenomenal group here in Cincinnati, but also obviously tying in with you guys now here on Coffee Connect. And part of today's mission, right, is not only to uh, dive into really what does Coffee Connect mean? What was it? What was its purpose? Why are we here? And what all of that means for you guys, right? But I'm hoping some of the questions that we ask ourselves today about the group, you can also ask yourself, right, or ask those same questions about yourself to hopefully determine a little bit more about what your why is and how you plan to accomplish it and what that all means for not only you, but the people maybe you are serving as well. And so, um, we're going to dive into this conversation and then we'll get into some introductions. We're going to do some ask and offers later on for anybody that has those out there. As I said, I think one of our things that we uh, dove into when we had some private conversations over the holidays is right. Uh, it was really like, what do I want this to be? What did I intend Coffee Connect to be? And I think the motto that we have on the logo says it all, right? Connecting people, knowledge, and resources one cup at a time. It was all about 2020, right? We were all exposed to COVID and we were shut down, and all of a sudden we were isolated. A lot of us felt like there were struggles going on that maybe we didn't have all the answers to. And that's really what the group was all about, guys. And so, we've evolved into this personal development, professional development, dive into topics that most people aren't willing to dive into on their own so that we can learn and grow together. But more importantly, create the relationships to help us get the results that we want. And so the expectation is always that we show up, right? That we share in the value as much and as often as we can. And then obviously we get results. And part of that results comes with accountability, right? Understanding what did you expect to get out of this and what actions did you take to actually work towards getting those results, right? And so there's some new things that we're going to implement in 2026 geared towards the accountability piece because I think it is huge, right? Someone told me, a goal on a piece of paper without a timeline, right, and an action plan to accomplish it, right, is really just a wish. And so we're hoping to not only just take our wishes and put them into goals, but put them into action plans so we can actually accomplish the things that we want to do. And so some of the things that we're looking that you're going to get out of today's conversation, right? Clarity, not only on your own personal why, what, and how, right, but also an understanding of Coffee Connect's purpose. I want you to have a vision of the value that Coffee Connect brings, right? Not only Coffee Connect, but the relationships that you can build within an organization like ours, right? And obviously, we always hope that you would choose to do it within Coffee Connect so that we can all continue to garner the value that you bring as well. And so, the last thing, obviously, is the new connections. We're going to jump into a breakout room here soon. Uh, and talk about what Coffee Connect means to you. And Melinda, I understand anybody else, because I didn't see who else popped in over the last couple minutes. We had some other folks, right? If we've got new people here or people that maybe haven't tied in for a while, right? To sit down and think about what do I want to get out of networking groups? What do I want out of a group that maybe has some of the things that Coffee Connect's purpose is and mission is and things like that, right? Uh, what's going to make me show up, right? Part of this is to help develop kind of what we think the program is going to be in 2026, but also uh, to make sure that you understand this is why I need to be here, right? And so I'll tell you, Guys, in 2020, we were founded, like I said earlier, on the principle that folks were struggling, right? I often share the story that, for the first few weeks of Coffee Connect, it was all about how do I get my kids on Google Meets and things like that, because we were all thrust into this goofy environment that was now all virtual and stuff. And it eventually led to the point that we understood that there was value in having discussions about real struggles that were taking place. And maybe the very first presenter probably hit it the best for us, right? Young lady out of Seattle joined us, and it was I say it was all God's intervention because we were meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning back then, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning Seattle time, right? That she joined us, and she was a presentation coach. Right. Today, she teaches people and coaches people on how to do TED Talks. And we reached out to her and said, hey, would you mind jumping on here and giving us a little bit of snippet of how we can better present ourselves on Zoom, right? Whether that be to an employer, right, during interviews and stuff, or just in general networking groups like we have today, right? And she came back a couple weeks later. That was our first uh, serious topic that we had kind of promoted, and it all drove from there, right, and to what we are today. And so, what does Coffee Connect? Why does it exist? Well, it was to help bring people together and connect relationships, right, so that we can all talk about the struggles, come up with solutions, right, and maybe just get connected to the right person that can help us along the line, right? And so we're going to go to this breakout room. I don't have it. I'm not sharing right now. I know that. Sorry. We're going to go to this breakout room, and I'm going to have you guys talk about, right, what's your personal why for being here? Some of us are entrepreneurs. Some of us are job seekers. The gist is that we want people that want to create relationships and connections, and understand the importance of me saying to Bob, hey, Bob, I don't know if you've ever met Jared, but Jared's an awesome guy and he does some great things for manufacturers, and he's looking for roles maybe here in the Cincinnati area that relate to what he's been doing in the past. And Bob, you might know some people, right? Being able to refer people to other people so that we can continue to perpetuate our goal achievements, right? And then what problems can Coffee Connect possibly solve for you? Not just today, but maybe in the next 3 months or 6 months or a year and stuff. So I'm going to shuffle up the breakout rooms. We're going to take 6 or 7 minutes, guys. Please introduce yourself if you don't know. If you're joining us for the first time in a while, recap kind of who you are and what you're doing, and maybe some things have changed. I know several folks have shifted or pivoted over the last few months as well, because of what the economy's been doing and stuff. Please just update everybody on that. I'm getting the room shuffled up. That was a quick hurry 6 minutes, guys. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why you come to Coffee Connect? Why is this? What is it so important to you? What are you looking to get out of it?
Are you asking us to share or are you
I
just
am.
oh, okay. I'll give my quick breakdown. I'm actually not looking to get anything out of Coffee Connect. I'm looking to give back to Coffee Connect because of what it did for me. For those of you who don't know, I had a very important presentation, and most of the people in Coffee Connect let me um basically practice and listen to my presentation and give me very, very great criticism and critique and feedback. And when it was all said and done, I got $50 million raised for my business. And I just can't thank the group enough. So I'm literally here to give value when and where I can. It's not about me getting anything back. I've gotten plenty. So yeah.
And Ray is so true, right? I mean, this is why when we talk about not just the motto, but the expectations is to show up, share in the value, meaning that you continue to come back and feed back into others, and the reciprocity piece is a huge piece of life, right? And we understand that if we are doing those things right, if we're showing up and we're trying to find areas that we can give to others or serve others, that results are also going to follow in our own direction, right? Eventually. Appreciate you sharing that, Ray. Who else?
One more quick thing. If someone from the group asks for any kind of help, personally, like people didn't realize how important it was for me to like give the presentation, just have the repetition and the reps to go through it. And it didn't seem like a big ask to most of them, but for me, it was a big thing. So I just believe any way anybody asks you to help, please do your best to help. Sorry. Okay, I'm done right.
You're good, buddy. You're good. How about go ahead, Kate?
So one aspect we talked about was just really that connection and community and having a sense of belonging, whether it's you're working independently on your own job, entrepreneurship, whether you're in transition and you're outside of the normal community and belonging that you've had previously, to have those connections and the people that we see either weekly or, 2 to 3 times a week, really just building those relationships and having that support.
Perfect. And then the other thing about that, Kate, is that how do we maintain that? How do we retain people, right, to keep that going, right? It's great. Everyone comes in here, and I think hopefully you feel that there's a sense of belonging, that you do belong here, that you do have a voice in the community, and that there are great relationships and connections being made here. But also, like so often we see, right, people land or they get busy in life, and then all of a sudden we don't see them anymore, right? And I've never asked anybody, right, to say, hey, man, I'm sorry, Dave, you got to be here every week or else we're not counting you in on the group. Okay, Dave? We've never said that, guys, right? Uh, and what we've said is, I need you to show up when you can show up, right? And understand that the value's here every week, week in and week out. Joe, you got something?
Yeah, I would basically say it's kind of opposite ends of the spectrum for me. There's people who I feel like I have probably a lot in common with. Um, like David Lamar and Rodney, I've known you for about 10 years. And then there's other people like Ray, God bless you. Every time that we have like a book search, or a book share, what are you reading? I love to hear um, what you're reading. And the one was The Four Agreements, and I just thought that was an amazing book. Um, and there's people who, and then there's kind of people who pass through, and let's be honest, those of you who are in job transition, um, some of you I'd like to see less of you. I'd like to see you back working again. But there comes a point when I was out in 2010, I was out for 10 or 11 months, and it's like it takes time. So it's like it's a good safe harbor port for some folks, and that's what they need at this point in time. And there's just there's people I feel like a very kindred spirit with, and then people who come from different um, you know, places I've never been or never lived, and it's like I do learn things from them.
So on the second half of this, I'll get to you in just a second, Darcy, as well. Um, you know, as we're thinking about, hey, why I'm here or why I go to events or organizations and things like what Coffee Connect presents, right? What problems do you want to see solved, right? What things are you struggling with that you're like, hey, I need help with? One of the hardest things that I think any individual has, right? Uh, and I think all of us are probably guilty along the way at some point in time. We had this, a part of this was in our conversation at HR Roundtable. It's just knowing that we have others to ask for help from, right? That we can ask for help and say, hey, I need assistance in this, right? And we often want to feel like we're invulnerable, that we can just go do it all on our own and stuff. Uh, but we do need assistance. We do need help, right? No strong, successful leader has ever made it through by doing it all on their own, right? They've always surrounded themselves with others to help them through that process. Go ahead, Darcy.
Yeah, I think Rodney, I was going to share, and I shared with the breakout session. So I am in job transition, but what I've found about Coffee Connect, so I'm part of a couple of other job search groups as well. One is very structured, so you have programming every week. There's follow-up, there's resources through the Kenton County Library, which is different than Job Search Focus Group down in Hyde Park. Not quite as structured, but still programs. And this one has a combination of both. Just some things that sort of what are we dealing with today, and not necessarily just this planned out, super structured. So it's little more relaxed, I think is the way I look at it. The other thing you hit on it, and it's just a safe place to share concerns that I personally may not share in those larger groups, right? We got 90 people at Kenton County Library on any given week. And yes, we have breakout tables there, but I wouldn't feel as comfortable as I am here.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. And that is, I think that's been a notable thing about Coffee Connect for the 5 years that we've been doing this, going on 6 years. March 31st will be our 6 year anniversary, right? Is that people feel comfortable coming in here and opening up a little bit about what's been going on, right? And we want to keep that, but we also want to make sure that we're serving other purposes and can hopefully retain some of the individuals, or even if not on a weekly basis, right, that they come back on a quarterly basis. Like, when you land, Darcy, I hope that you continue to join us, right? And Kate as well, and anybody else who's in transition, right? That you don't just forget about Coffee Connect and then all of a sudden 2 years from now or 3 years from now, you find yourself maybe back in transition again, or maybe not excited about the job that you took on or the role that you took on. And you're like, I'm going to find something else, right? We ask that you keep nourishing and nurturing those relationships, hopefully along the way, right? So that the struggle isn't as deep, maybe, as what you found it this time. I know for several of you, you were in jobs for a long time, right? And this might be your first time back in that search mode. So perfect. I'm going to keep moving because we've got a little bit more I want to continue to talk about. Share.
Hard to keep coming when you.
What's up, Aaron?
Oh, nothing. I'm sorry. I wasn't talking.
Okay. So the other side of this is the what, right? What is Coffee Connect and what is it not? What value is here that we promise, right? And what can we expect every week? I think a lot of people, just from their whys, right, from our conversations that we just had, hit upon a lot of what the expectations can be. The fact that you can open up, the fact that you can create relationships, right? Bob and I have grown really close over the last 4 months, 5 months, I think, since we've been knowing each other, right? We high five, and it's just a different vibe, right? When you see these people, right? When I get up to Cleveland and I see Jeff and Dave and those guys, right? I mean, it's more than just a handshake, right? Because of the relationships that we built. And there's not a time that goes by that if I don't see, if I'm seeing people face to face, like Jared or Natalie and those guys, that a smile doesn't come upon my face because I know I'm around friends, right? At that point. And so I think that's what this has brought on, right? And so what are we and what are we not, I think, are some tough questions to answer at times. But I think I've got some answers, right? And you've already heard some of these. One, a community of support. For sure. I know I can turn to people in this group for answers, or even just to vent if need be, right? So I can continue to perpetuate whatever goal I'm looking for or action plan I'm shooting for or whatever else, right? It's always a place to learn and grow. Someone mentioned the book. Joe mentioned the books, right? We do book shares periodically and things like that because most of us are readers in some way. And we love to share the information and things where we're learning new stuff, right? And then it's always a network to give back, right? I'm always looking, and most of us are always looking for who can I connect people to, right? Jared, over the holidays, Jared and I got together one-on-one, right? And we had some great conversations, and then that led me to go, dude, you need to meet some people, right? And by the way, when I was at HR Roundtable this morning, Jared, I touched base with him to make sure that you guys had connected. If you haven't had a conversation, let me know so I can reach back out to Steve and say, hey, you need to talk, right? Not just a connection on LinkedIn. I need you to have a conversation and stuff. So what we're not, guys, we're not a pitch fest, right? I think it's important for us to all have a polished elevator pitch and things like that, right? But that's not what this is for. It's really about helping for people to develop those things. I love Cleveland area networking because we work on pitches right every week, and we're able to go in there and try out some new things and get constructive feedback on how we can get better at how we're presenting ourselves and stuff, right? It's not a passive webinar. We're not here to just throw information out. I love feedback. I love it when we come back to the main room and you guys are able to share what you just talked about and what you might have learned about each other, right? And it's never has been intended to be, right, a one-way street where I'm the only one or the presenter is the only one delivering information, because that's not how things should ever be, right? We want to learn from each other. We want to hear the experiences that everyone has had, and allow us all to grow at the same point, right? And so we're going to go to the second breakout here real quick and really talk about. I want to come up with some ideas, right? We've got some things on the chopping block here that we're working towards in the next few weeks as far as what 2026 is going to bring. The next 90 days, you're going to see 3 different versions of Coffee Connect. I'm just going to be honest with you, right? 3 different versions of Coffee Connect, right? And some of it's going to implement some things that maybe we haven't seen before. And the purpose of that is to try and figure out what can we do to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish, right? Attract more people, number 1. Number 2, retain more people, right? And maybe that involves holding an evening session once a month or something like that, so that when you do land, right, we can always find an evening session that we can jump on a call at 5 or 6 o'clock, or a weekend session or something, maybe early in the morning that people are home, and make it available for folks, right? But also, how do we incorporate those things that we all know are so important to people accomplishing their goals? Accountability, right? Many of us have had conversations that people come here, we hear a great talk, we hear a great lesson, we know there are action items, and then there's nothing, right? What do we do with those action items? Did we actually follow up with those action items? Did somebody take steps to accomplishing some of the things that maybe we're throwing out there to increasing the behaviors or changing behaviors that we were looking to change, right? And so accountability is some things. So we're going to have some of those things implemented. And then contribution, right? I want you to talk about, what do you want? What topics would be valuable to you? But also, what do you feel you're going to be contributing, right? In the next 3 months, 6 months, to the organization, to the group, to the individuals that you're creating relationships with. So I've got the.
Can I jump in real quick before the
Yes,
break?
sir. Yes, sir.
You hit on something earlier. Coffee Connect is an opportunity. And that, I think, is the biggest issue that we all have. It's an opportunity to make great people and move forward from weekly Zoom stuff to having an actual get to know, whether it's through a joint project like Ray asking people, whether it's Jeff Hexter and I doing something together that neither one of us was really comfortable doing, which led to doing other things that were like that. It builds an opportunity for us to get to know, as you said, and you said it 4 different times already. You've taken the initiative to meet with people. That's you and your extrovert. And we all kind of laugh going, my God, nobody is that outgoing and that generous. You are. Most of us aren't. So when you say, what can Coffee Connect do more of? Really, it's us. We need to do more one-to-ones. If people haven't done a one-to-one in a quarter, shame on us. If they have, so I mean, that's the real issue. The long-term relationships like Ron that I've known for years because of BWJS and drinks and political differences and humor. Build the reason when I know I can call him. I told Darcy and Kate, they're two people I would hope I'd be able to stay with, whether it's here or not, and find a way to stay in their lives because they're both engaging and entertaining. And there's a lot of other people like that. To me, that's the most important part. We can get the Jan Mallets and all those other people involved if they want to be. So it's not so much you pushing and having to do more lifting, which with your back and your injection, I would think is not an issue. How do we go about saying, how do we step up to make Coffee Connect and build into this so that if you do your assignment, we're not all going, what the hell happened to Coffee Connect? Rodney's not here.
So, and that's a great point, Dave, and I appreciate you bringing that up, right? First of all, I want you to look at your entire, if you don't have it up in gallery mode, I want you to put it in gallery mode, right? Some of us like the speaker mode, and that's fine, but I want you to put it in gallery mode just for a minute here. And if you're looking at your screen right now, I am not Coffee Connect. This is Coffee Connect, guys, right? Along with the hundreds of other people, right, that have tied in over the last 5 years. It's our ability as a community, as a group, as a collective, right, to share information, share knowledge, share resources, right, that makes Coffee Connect successful. And Dave, you hit the nail on the head, right? You're right. It's not me. And I've never intended it to be me, guys. I'm just a facilitator. I'm just a host here, right? That pays for the stupid Zoom account, right? If we were all in Cincinnati, then we probably wouldn't be meeting on Zoom. But the truth is that Zoom has allowed us to expand this organization and this group of, I call it family because we are, right? Beyond just Cincinnati and Cleveland because, well, we've got people that tie in from Chicago today, right? Amelia, you're up in Chicago, right? And often we have people from not even in the United States that are with us, right? Over in Great Britain and Croatia and those guys and stuff, right? And so it isn't just me, it's our collective abilities to connect and create relationships and continue those relationships beyond just the breakout rooms and things like that here. So listen, so go into breakout. I want you to kind of talk about this, right? And almost commit, right? And I'm going to ask you at some point today to commit to what are you going to contribute? Maybe it's one relationship. Maybe it's one monthly meeting. Maybe it's something like that later on that we're going to obviously all tie into to try and actively put accountability stuff into play, right? So I'm going to open the breakout rooms.
That's good. Creativity with variety.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Habib joined us on the break.
Habib in the house. All right.
We were actually just talking about how the organization has expanded far beyond the reaches of Cincinnati and Cleveland. Habib's coming with us all the way from Pakistan, correct? Yeah. So,
Oh, yes.
all right. So what, right? What do you want Coffee Connect to look like? What do you want it to provide? What value do you want it to bring? And what are you looking to contribute in 2026?
So, Rodney, in our group, I talked about, I do like the idea of having an alternative session, whether it's lunchtime or evening once a month, especially for us that are in job transition when we land. This time may not, work out. So I think that's one thing. And then I think the other thing that we talked about that I think Dave said you tried to do is, there are lessons, takeaways that we may get from the weekly meeting and things that we say we're going to sign up and be accountable for, that it would be great that maybe we start off the next meeting, but be very intentional. Hey, was there a takeaway from last week's meeting that someone acted on? And would you like to share and give us an example? And then that way we're not just sitting here an hour and then going on about our week, but then we're like actually taking action and then sharing with everyone the results of that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we did talk about something like that. And I think that's one of the agendas I was sharing with Habib. I said we got three different agendas, guys, and I shared that with you guys earlier. But I said in the end, we may end up doing, hey, week one we're doing agenda A. Week two of the month we're going to do agenda B. Week three we're going to do agenda C. Right, and it might get mixed up a little bit like that. But in all cases, I agree with you, Miska. There needs to be a way that we can highlight, hey, what did we talk about last week? What did you get out of last week? And what did we move on? Who took moves to act on those things? And so absolutely, accountability is going to get implemented, right? I don't want that to be a fear piece for and Melinda, I'm going to use you because you're our new person today, right? For her, she comes in and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh my gosh, I got an answer to something," right? That's not the case, right? We know that, hey, if Ron was here last week, I want to know, Ron, what did you get out of last week? What did you take away? And were there things that you took action on? And if he says, well, these were my important things, I haven't done anything, okay, I'm okay with that, right? Uh, we can always kick it to someone, and maybe maybe Bob's like, hey, wait a minute, I learned those same lessons, but I put some things into play this week to try and put a piece of accountability in, right? And that's okay. We want to be able to share those things because often you're going to find out, man, what Tim's doing is something I'm like, man, that was a good idea. I should be doing that, right? And all of a sudden I can implement similar behaviors, right, to increase better habit forcing, right? And stuff. So, what else? Thanks for sharing that, Miska. What else? I don't have my hand raised because I want to talk.
I did like the idea of an evening meeting, maybe once a month or once a quarter. I'll just throw that out.
Okay. What about contributions? Like, have you guys thought about other contributions that you can make to Coffee Connect, right? To make it more valuable for uh, all your brothers and sisters that are sitting here.
One thing that I've done in a lot of the breakout sessions, and I'll make this offer to anyone in transition, is if you want like a 30-minute primer on Data Axle, I'd be happy to do that for you. Just send me a LinkedIn invite and we'll go from there. And if we can get 2 or 3 people on the same call, great. If I got to do one-on-ones, that's fine too.
Yeah. And along that same lines, right? Julie, who's not with us today, Julie Myers, I mean, like, Melinda found us because of Julie, right? We were on Julie Myers' list, and so Julie helps to contribute by continuing to push Coffee Connect on her list as, hey, this is a venue that you should probably try and get to, right? These are groups of people that you should get yourself around, right? There is no negativity and hate in the group for sure, until Dave wants to pull my leg a little bit and stuff. But
Hey, Rodney.
yeah.
So I think the couple things jumped out to me. One is just that idea of accountability partner. So oftentimes, I've got great plans. I say I'm going to do something, but if you don't have somebody that checks back in to say, how are you doing on that? I think that's important. In our group, I had shared 2 things. So as far as what can you personally contribute to the group? So it was, what questions do I have? What questions do others have that I may be able to provide feedback on? So maybe not being the facilitator, but being so passionate about a topic where you can continue the conversation. And then what do I know that I could share with others? And those were the 2 things that kind of hit me when you posed that question.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and I don't have this in the ask, right? But guys, one of our objectives here is obviously to grow the group. It's nice that all 20 of us or whatever get together and we have a great time, and I think we feel close to each other from our relationships and stuff, right? But how different is it if we bring another 20 in next week, right? That's brand new. And so I would ask that, the contribution doesn't just stop here or in your one-on-one sessions, right? Our biggest platform that we market on is LinkedIn, right? Every comment on LinkedIn, right, adds your network to the entire visualization of what Coffee Connect is and what impact it has, not only on you, but everybody else who has commented on that too, right? 2026, or coming into 2026, when I started marketing today's session, right, I wrote a comment on, I said, what has Coffee Connect meant to you, right? And there was one person, right? What would that have been if all 20 of you would have gotten on there and said, hey, I want to put on there what Coffee Connect's meant to me? Because then all 3 or 4 or 5,000 people that you are all connected to it also are going to see what Coffee Connected is, right? And Melinda might not have been the only one that found us this week.
One thing that we were talking about in our small group is for myself, and I'm sorry, Melinda, I'm going to possibly speak for you as well, but the two of us kind of were unsure. It was something unfamiliar for us. So it was just that doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was a tough part. I mean, let's face it, I've known you for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
It was during my first job transition, and I kept saying, oh, I'm gonna do this. Well, finally, here I am.
Yeah. Hey, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you ate sushi as a baby. Yeah, I said that. Right. So the first time you ate sushi, right, you were probably like, oh, I don't know. And then you ate it. Right. And maybe it wasn't sushi for you because not everybody does love sushi, right? But maybe it was something else, some other food or something that you tried for the first time. You were like, oh my gosh. Like, I got to have that, right? And I think Coffee Connect is the same way. That you've got to come, you've got to taste it a little bit. You got to take a few sips of it, and it's never enough, right? We've had people come once and then they never come again, and I'm like, okay.
I can say I'll be here next week.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to take a couple bites. You've got to cook it a couple different ways sometimes, and go, oh, right. I used to hate Brussels sprouts, but I love roasted Brussels sprouts, right? Today, it's that thing, right? And it isn't going to be something that is for everybody. I understand that, Brian. I do understand that, right? But if we want more people, we've got to reach more people, right? And we've got to have everybody on board with. One way you can bring value is not only having one-on-ones with those that are in here, right? But telling others, right? I mean, Melinda found curiosity and said, man, I should probably reach out to this group and see what's going on, right? And here she is. And I'm hoping she finds value today in the relationships and connections that she's building, right? Don't lie to me, Melinda. It's okay. They're not listening.
Well, to credit you, Rodney, you were actually the one who told me about the coffee connections, because I had missed that. I saw the Thursday in-person meeting, but it was your reach out on LinkedIn that.
Yeah, she was going to come to breakfast with us on Thursdays. Yeah. Which that's a good group too, and there's a few of us here that go to breakfast, right, and stuff on Thursdays and stuff. But this is a good group to be a part of, right? And so anyway, the how is there, right? We've talked about this, guys. You got to show up. You got to share in the value. You got to continue to build those relationships, right? And I would say some of the things that we're working on, for 2026, right? Structure around speakers' presentation has always been there. We want to limit presentations to about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want any more. We don't need an hour worth of information. 15 to 20 minutes. We've seen presenters come in and they present 4, 5, 6 things, almost 90% of whatever their specialty is, when they could have talked about one thing, right? And we all would have been scratching our heads after that one thing to want to learn more from them. And so better breakout facilitation. We're going to work some things around that. Maybe it's not about the breakouts as much as it is just the open conversations that we have in a big group, right? Alumni engagement. I've talked about retention being big. Clear onboarding. I've got some emails already genned up for any new people that we're going to start sending out some onboarding emails and stuff so they better understand. So they understand the flavor of it so much, Brian, right? After the first time, they don't have to come back 2 or 3 times and they go, oh, it's not going to be this all the time, but This is just one segment of it, right? And then obviously defining expectations, guys. It is all about giving back. Okay. We're going to get as much as we can out of this while we're here and create connections. But in the end, how much can you reciprocate that when it's all done, right? When you get the goal, when you get the job, when you land the opportunity, whatever it is you're doing, right? How much can you reciprocate, right? And getting that back. And so hopefully today you've also been able to kind of explore a little bit about why do you go to these things, right? And it's not just Coffee Connect, but Job Search Focus Group, Northern Kentucky Accountability Group, Cleveland Area Networking, right? Why do you go? Make sure you have that clear in your head why you're going there so that the what and the how become a little bit more clearer as well as you're there, right? Staying around the positivity is big in keeping things moving. Listen, I'm going to close with this, guys. You don't rise to the level of your goals, right? You rise to the level of your systems and your community. So let's build it big. Let's build it in 2026. Go out there, have a great week. And remember, I love you guys, all right?
Have a great week, everybody.
Have a good week.
See y'all.